All right, welcome everybody back to the Maumee Valley Whiskey Society and our virtual blind flight night. We're actually a half an hour earlier than we normally do it tonight. We have one more guest joining us, and he'll be on shortly. But tonight is going to be a fun night. This is our summer distillery tour picks. We've got 3 trips really we've done this summer that we visited. I don't even know, maybe 40 distilleries this summer. And
25 in 1 week.
Yeah, 25 in 1 week. And we've got a selection of some of those we visited here tonight. And I'm really excited to share it with everybody. So it's been a few weeks since we've been on. Welcome to Jason and Will. Guys, hope you're ready for tonight. It's been a little while. We've had a busy
forward to it.
Yeah, we've had a busy summer. We had the big Kentucky trip for the Whiskey Society. We were moving into a place, moved out of a place. Now we're moving back into a new place. So lots going on. But we got 4 people watching along. Hello to everyone watching. If you want to comment, we'll read it here as we go along. But like I said, these are a selection of 6 samples of bottles from distilleries that we visited this summer. And between the various trips we've done, it's been like 30 or 40.
From D.C. to Pennsylvania to Kentucky.
D.C., Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana, Ohio. Where else did we go? I don't know. Maryland. So, all right. Well, if you guys are ready, we can jump right into it with glass 1. Let me see if I've got my timer set up here. All right, so what we'll do is we'll get our 1-minute timer up here. We'll run through it. We'll give everyone a chance to get to know glass 1, and we'll be back with first impressions. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed glass 1 as much as I did. So let's see if that's the case. Jason, let's start with you. What were your first impressions on glass 1?
I looked at it. It was the honey and amber coloration and everything like that, with some medium long legs on it. It was had honey on the nose and on the taste for me. It was sweeter at the initial, but then went more herbal on the back of the tongue, towards the back of the palate, and then finished out. It almost had like a clover note to it, so like a little bit of herbally note with that herbal field kind of taste. So it was an enjoyable pour. I look at it and it's one of those ones it can be very polarizing. I did enjoy it, but it's one of those ones that I would say it could be polarizing for some people. So
yeah, I right away on the nose got, like, I think Jess mentioned peach,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I got some plum. I got a lot of stone fruit, and then I got some like sugary oak, a little bit of like custard and stone fruit jamminess on the nose, and then when I tasted it, super creamy and nice mouthfeel up front. A little, it almost went a little yeasty earthiness kind of in the middle. I think that's kind of what you were getting at. And then it was like the skin or the peels of the grape or plum. Like, I mean, if you're ever weird and you tried to peel a grape before and just eat the skin, that was kind of what was giving me. But then it finished kind of sweet. I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
It's different. I think it would be like more of a mood pour. I mean, it's very fruity. There are some. I do agree with you, Jason. Some honey, sweet. I don't know if I'd say sweet oak per se, but I think it was good. But it did finish herbal. So I mean, it's good. I just don't know that it would be a one I would reach for.
Well, I definitely want to know what Will thinks. Will, what did you think?
So I got the light amber color with a good glass cling. Toasted honey, cinnamon, a little bit of a spicy mint on the nose, which might be the beginning of that herbal taste. Flavor notes: big red gum, green wood, fennel salad, and peppercorns for my flavor notes.
Okay.
Finish long and low. This has got rye written all over it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's either a high rye bourbon or it's a rye, but there's some of those yeasty notes that you were talking about, Joe, on there, that it's that in the mid palate there, that it's kind of like, does it have a little bit of wheat in there too? That's kind of thing that it kind of threw me with it a little bit.
Okay. Interesting. We do have a couple of comments. Paul's watching. Hey, Paul, how's it going? I'm assuming maybe Joanne was with him. And then Kevin chimed in. Yeah, he's watching. He's keeping up with us. He's running a little late. No problem, Kevin. Whenever you get a chance, jump on. We got a couple more people watching. Again, this blind flight night are going to be samples from distillers we actually visited this summer. We hit like 30 or 40 distilleries this summer between like 3 different trips. Some of them from our big Whiskey Society trip to Kentucky. So good start, though. Let's move on to Glass 2. Again, we'll give everyone a couple of minutes to get to know Glass 2, and we will be back with your guys' first impressions. Yeah. All right. So you've spent some time with Glass 2. What did you think?
So to me, it smelled like a cinnamon roll. Like the vanillas, the cinnamon, like, I don't know. It was really smelled good, and then it came through on the palate. I really liked it.
Okay. Will, what did you think about Glass 2?
Definitely had a darker appearance than the first one. Same wonderful glass cling. On the nose, I got like a toasted marshmallow thing going on there, with maybe a little bit of a nuttiness. The flavor, sweet and smooth, Bing cherry, custard, toasted sugar, caramel. It wasn't punchy at all, and it just kept going and going and going.
Yeah, you're right. It wasn't punchy, but man, I felt that spice bloom really built near the end, and leading into that finish that just wouldn't stop. And I could see cinnamon roll. I wasn't quite getting like cinnamon rolls like you're baking in the oven. I was getting just like if you took vanilla cream, butter, and cinnamon and just whipped it together. It hasn't been like cooked up to a cinnamon roll yet. I was getting on the nose. And then the mouthfeel was just fantastic. Good classic bourbon flavors, and then that cinnamon spice kind of bloom through to the end of the palate into the finish is what was really stood out to me. But Jason, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought the legs on this was a little bit thinner, but they still clung. Like Will said that they stayed on the glass just as long and everything like that, but it was like a thinner on the glass. And then I got almost like the cinnamon. I got the cinnamon in that, but I got also a little bit of a ginger spice on ginger snap spice. I guess is the best way to put it. Is not full on like eating raw ginger or whatever, but more like a ginger snap, a bready ginger on there. And then but the finish, yeah, like you guys were saying, it was a long finish. I basically said it was long and hard. It finished all the way to the end, and then it was gone. It was like it kept on going, and it was the same strength all the way straight through it, and then it was gone. And I'm like, where did it go? Okay, got to go back for more. So.
Okay, interesting. Well, I forgot for Glass 1, so let's go back. For Glass 1, where were you guys at on our little thumb meter? Thumbs up, sideways, or down? Okay, all right, a little mixed. And what about Glass 2? Oh, okay, a little mixed the other way. All right, very interesting. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and move on to Glass 3. Again, we'll pull up our timer. We'll give everyone a couple minutes here to get to know Glass 3, and we'll come back with everybody's first impressions. All right, we are back from tasting class 3. If anybody's watching on YouTube, comment and let me know if it is cutting out when we go to play our timer. We had a little issue last time. See if that happens again. But in the meantime, let's get to your guys' thoughts on Glass 3. Jason, what did you think first impression?
First impression, this is classic bourbon notes on the nose, on the taste. It's a caramel bomb. Hits my palate just like a caramel bomb. I absolutely love this. I was sitting back here and I'm like just listening to the music and I'm just like, yeah, this is exactly what I need to be doing right now. Is just sitting here listening to this music and drinking this bourbon right here. Like it was, I love this one. I gotta find this one. That's all I gotta say.
All right, perfect. Will, how about you? Did it hit you the same way?
Vanilla cream on the nose, flavor pastry cream, citrus zest, carrot spice cake, raisins, nutmeg, ginger. This is one of my favorite desserts in a glass.
Okay, yeah. I think when I was talking, I had like if sweet oak was a marshmallow flavor. So if you had a sweet oak marshmallow covered in brown sugar and maple syrup, that all transferred to the palate to me. And then right at the start of the finish, I got this like charred campfire note right at the end of the palate, beginning of the finish that I really liked, that helped. And then it just went into a nice sweet finish. And I very much enjoyed this too. What about you?
It was good. I don't know. I'm gonna have a hard time between 2 and 3. I don't know that it's as good as you guys are saying, but I mean, it was good.
Okay. Well, I think these are going to be very difficult to rank for me anyways. Yeah, someone said, yeah, YouTube cut out for me. So it's the timer. Yeah, it's the music on the timer. It's a non-copyrighted, but for some reason, YouTube, and I got it from YouTube under their audio library, and it keeps on cutting out, so we might not be able to use the timer. I might try the other time. So, all right. Well, we've made it through 3 glasses. We've had everybody's first impressions. It's definitely moving a little quicker than our normal blind flight night because we usually have like 12 people on here. But I wanted to take a break and just let us kind of relax after drinking through 3 whiskeys there and provide some updates for everybody here and everybody watching. We had a busy month in June. We had a super busy month. We had we moved into a location for our whiskey society, and then we had to turn around and move out. And then we had our big Kentucky distillery trip. So if anybody's not familiar with that, we took 9 people from the Whiskey Society down to the Bourbon Trail for a week. We visited 25 distilleries in 6 days. It was pretty amazing.
Busy, but
it was busy,
fun.
busy. And and now we found a new place, a new home for the Maumee Valley Whiskey Society. I've got the draft copy of the lease. We are looking at getting keys August 1st and moving in, and the first news will drop here tonight. We are then looking at, as long as that goes okay, we are then looking at Saturday, August 5th, to have kind of a housewarming welcome party over there at the new place. We're going to have some barbecue. We're going to have a bunch of different whiskeys there to everyone to have a pour from. A great kind of celebration moving into our new place. So if you're watching here, you heard it first. More information will come via Facebook and Discord on that. But I think it's going to be a great time. And then we've got next Friday, this upcoming Friday, we've got our New Earth barrel pick. So we've got all the orders in for that. We've got our New Earth barrel pick. We've got a great team going down there for that. In August 26th, we've got our Middle West barrel pick. So that's going to be pretty cool. Pre-orders were closed on the new Riff Barrel Pick. However, we are going to have some extra cases. So when we do the bottle release party at Bars Public House for that, we are going to have extra bottles available for people if they want a backup or if they didn't get a chance to order some. So that'll be coming up. And then our Middle West pick is going to be distributed through sharepour.com. So just like we've done our other picks this year, everyone based on your tier will get a link to go and order those. And again, that picks in August. So we've got a fun time coming up. Moving into a new place, a couple more barrel picks coming up. Our watershed barrel pick, any day. It's bottled, it's ready to go. It's sitting in the warehouses with OHLQ. We're just waiting for them to get to Palkins. So we're just sitting there. I've talked to Brad over at Palkins. They're ready to go too. We've got a plan to notify everybody. We're just waiting for OHLQ to actually get them there. So, and then the Starlight pick. The Starlight pick should be ready. That's going to be through sharepour.com. Again, it's just going through distribution. We're just waiting for it to get to the Shared Pour warehouses so they can process those for shipping. So we've got a lot of cool stuff going on and more to come. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Join us on Facebook, and please consider becoming a Patreon member because Patreon members the benefits are going to get even better here shortly with our new line. So anything else I missed? Mm-hmm. Anything you guys can think of I missed? Any questions you guys have? No?
No, I'm excited to see the new venue.
Yeah. Oh, I'm super excited. We're not right on Conant downtown anymore, but the space itself is more than double the size, and it's been completely brand new, renovated, and I'm really excited for it. And we are going to have like a little kind of sort of patio area outside, so we're going to have a smoker there where we can do cookouts and might be able to hang out outside with a cigar and a whiskey. So fun stuff. So, all right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to glass 4. I'm going to see if we can do our shorter countdown. I'll have to run this one twice, but we'll get a minute or two here to get familiar with glass 4, and we will come back with everybody's first impressions. All right. So a little bit of time there with glass 4. We're going to have to figure out a new solution for our timer countdown. But Will, what did you think about glass 4?
Well, of the ones we've had so far, I have to say it's my least favorite.
Okay.
It had a bit of a cheesy, musty smell to it that went along with the normal, let's call it bourbon-y smells. Mouthfeel very thin. It had a very astringent, punchy cinnamon going on, and I found the finish short and hot.
Okay, very interesting. Jason, what did you think? First impressions on glass 4?
Yeah, I got the herbally, minty, like up front on it, astringent, and it transfers right straight over to the palate on it, and it's like it's almost like one dimensional with that. Whereas some you'll get something on the nose and everything, then you got something on the palate, and then you got something on the finish. This is like as soon as I smelt it, and then I taste it. It's like it's the same thing, and then the finish was right along with that. So I guess I'm right on with Will here. Is that it's probably my least favorite out of the four right now, but it's different and interesting. It almost reminds me of a little bit of one that I had with Jep the Creed one time. So
Okay, interesting. What did you think?
I don't know. I want to like it. It's different. I don't know that it's totally at the bottom per se. I don't know. I thought it was okay.
So I'm gonna maybe be the outlier. I kind of really liked it. I think it definitely came off with a minty earthiness from a rye. I definitely think this is a rye. However, I was getting enough sweetness and oak on it that it really balanced that out for me and made it enjoyable. I will agree with Jason that I thought what I got on the nose transferred exactly to the palate and the finish. It was the same. It was consistent. I won't say it was one note. I'll say it's consistent because I was getting a little herbal, little sugary sweetness, a little mint, a little oak, kind of differentiating through there. But it stayed consistent.
Yeah, I would say it wasn't like one note, like like it's ethanol straight through type thing.
Yeah.
But it was the same notes that I was getting on the nose, was getting on the palate, was getting on the finish. Right?
Yeah, it was very consistent. Yep. All right, so I think I actually kind of liked this one, but where were we across the board? Yeah, that's okay. That's what I kind of thought. Interesting. All right, that'll be very interesting. These whiskeys don't have a lot of margin for error with only 4 people voting on them this time. They don't have a lot of margin of error, so that doesn't bode well for glass 4. But we'll see how the rest of them work out. All right, let's move on to 5, and we'll spend a little bit of time with 5 and come back with everyone's first impressions. All right. Well, I think I know what this one is. I put the flight together. I think I know what this one is. So I'm going to refrain from getting my impressions other than the fact that I liked it. But Jess had a very strong reaction to this one. So what did you think?
But I can't put anything into words. Like it's toasted caramel that I smell, that I tasted. It's not overly crazy complex. There's not a good. I mean, it's like a decent mouthfeel. It's not proofy, but it's like I feel like I could sit and sip this for a while. I enjoyed it.
Okay. All right. Jason, what did you think? First impressions on Glass 5.
I thought this one was a little bit just slightly darker than the other ones so far. It does have a longer mouthfeel to it, and it clings all over the mouth on it. I got a little bit of a cherry and slight cherry, like a hint of cherry at the back end of it, but it was more like a white pepper, like a peppery taste and flavor on it, and that toasted caramel that you were talking about there, Jess. So, yeah.
Okay. Will, what were your first impressions on 5?
First impressions: aroma, bananas Foster, buttery. Flavor: mild corn, creamy, sweet. It was reminiscent to me of the cinnamon candy coated almonds you get at fairs. I didn't dislike it. The flavor very lingering with a light spiciness.
Okay, interesting. All right. So where were we at across the board on glass 5 then? Okay. All right. Yeah, I still gave it a thumbs up. It's definitely not my favorite of the group. I'm definitely leaning more towards 1 through 3 versus 4 and 5. But I really enjoyed it. So, but I mean that's not surprising. I picked ones from our trips that I liked to put in here. So, all right. Well, let's move on to our final glass, glass 6. We'll spend some time with 6, and we will come back with everyone's first impression. Well, this one was confusing to me because I wasn't getting a whole lot on the nose. Like, there's nothing that's really jumping out at me. But it was nice and dark. And then when I tasted it, it was like peanut butter or almond butter. I got like a nut butter creaminess. Like it was totally off profile of what I expected. I expected like jammy fruit, caramel. That is not what I got. I got like almond butter. And that was about it. I didn't really get much else on the palate. How about you?
There wasn't much to it. I smelled vanilla. It didn't wow me.
Yeah, I was a little surprised at this one. Will, what did you think about Glass 6?
I think my face might convey my feelings pretty directly there. The nose, old wood flavor, like some sort of tropical fruit custard, and to me that's a bad thing. Like papaya to me has just a weird, unpleasant flavor. And the finish I'd describe as acrid.
Okay, so that's interesting. You were getting like a unpleasant tropical fruit. I was getting like an almond butter, and it just did not seem like it fit. Jason, what about you?
I'm kind of right in the middle between two of you there, because I got on the nose, I got a slight floral hint to it, just very slight on the nose, and then it had like a nut, but I was thinking like more like a pecan nut with it, pecan walnut with it. Just how that acid that's in a walnut.
Yeah,
it's not the walnuts itself, but like when you get one of those, an underripe walnut and pecan, it's like that wasn't a great one type thing. That was more the nuttiness that I was getting with it, and the finish on it. Yeah, it was underwhelming, I guess is the best way to put it. It was just like, it's there. It's just, there's nothing to write home about it, I guess is the way about it.
Well, I don't think this one's going to be surprising. I'm leaning. I might. I don't know. It wasn't terrible.
It's not.
But it wasn't. Boy, it just was not what I was expecting. Yeah. So, okay. Well, we've tasted through the 6 samples. We've gotten everybody's first impression. Let's go ahead and just open it up let's run it back the other way. Maybe do some side by side comparisons, and start kind of figuring out what your rankings are. I think for me, 1 through 3 are at the top, and 4 through 6 are at the bottom. But I'm gonna validate that. How are you guys feeling? Just overall, kind of your flight.
I'm 100% in your boat where I think 1, 2, and 3 were much stronger than 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
While I hated number 4 the first time around, now that I've had 6 and put 4 and 6 next to each other, 4 is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, no. I just went back and I'm just smelling 4.
Butterscotch.
Oh, yes. Like
Honey butter.
kind of honey butterscotch.
No, and then
the
smell-
best kind.
smell that
Texas
one.
Roadhouse butter on a yeasted roll.
Oh,
So no, Will, like 4 and then 6 does definitely that musty one you were talking about. Let it.
So the
Yeah,
first time
it's like
around,
dirt.
I was not getting much off the nose of 6. But you're right. Coming off
Smells like
4
dirt.
and then going to 6, it does. It smells like a damp, rotting log in the woods that you came across.
Yep. That's it.
Nailed
It's
it.
the one you accidentally step on it and it breaks and your foot like sinks down into it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's not great. Man, I'll tell you what.
It's not dead cat, but it's
No, the nose on 2
I
is
don't.
pretty great. The nose
But
on
Joe likes
4
it
is
at one
fantastic.
point because it's in here.
Well, there's a. If this is the one I think it is, there's a caveat to one of these that are in there. So we'll go over that when we reveal them. But yeah, the nose on 4 is fantastic.
I like one.
based off of nose alone. I would say 4 is the best, but once you get into the taste on there, yeah.
You
Yeah.
can smell one.
It does. Although I like the palate, it's not my preferred.
That's wonderful.
Well, I do like
Revisiting 1 after revisiting 4 and 5, there's a bit more leather to 4 than I originally pulled out.
Of one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as good as I originally thought. All right,
really.
this is the.
Yeah. I still really like 1. I don't know that I like it as much as the first time around. Although the question is 1 and 4, which is the best out of 1 and 4? I think 4 might, just the nose alone on 4 might edge it out.
I don't mind the powder.
No, I don't mind it. I don't know that I like it as much as the. Yeah, I think I don't know. I got to side by side these. I don't know which one I like better. I definitely like the nose better on 4, but I like the palate better on 1. And to me, you're gonna drink the whiskey, right? Like, so I might have to give the edge to 1 over 4, even though the nose is phenomenal. I like the palate on 1 better, and the nose on 1 is good. It's not bad. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm
set.
narrowing down into. Oh, I lost. There we go. You're set, Will?
Yep.
Oh, I think I think I am too. I need to go with my gut. Otherwise, oh man, 3 though. 3's good.
The hug I've got going on right now after that back to back to back is wonderful.
Well, I will tell you, most of these, I think I'll have to look. I think most of these are at least 108 proof and higher. Most of them.
You said a magic number there.
The one I said that for your benefit. One of those are not in there.
Oh,
I didn't visit. They're not open yet.
they're not open yet, but they're getting close.
I know.
They actually applied for their license. It's up for it's to the state now.
Oh, that's perfect. That's awesome. So if they're applying for the state now, they already got their federal.
Well, their federal's in process. Their
Okay.
state, they have the sign on the door for local zoning and everything like that to serve alcohol at their new place or whatever. So
It's awesome.
yeah,
Really cool. Okay, I think I'm set.
I'm not.
Jess is still working on it. Will's set. Jason, how are you doing?
I'm sorry.
You're set? Okay.
Yep.
All right. This was a tough to me. This really was between 1 through 3 and 4 through 6. Even though the nose 4 is pretty good. For me, I just didn't feel it was up to the palates of 1 through 3. But again, that's why different palates like different whiskeys. So it's all good. Are you ready yet?
No, just chill.
All right. All right. So while we're waiting for Jess to finalize her scores,
Would you please? If you don't even have is Kevin jumping on or what?
maybe he might be. It's fine if he does.
This one is hard.
It is a very difficult. Okay. So, Jason, what was your favorite, and what did you like about it?
My favorite was number 3. It
Number
was the one that I could sit out at a campfire, drink all day long, every single time. It had all those great bourbon notes all the way straight through it. It was interesting from the nose to the palate to the finish. It was quintessential, exactly what you're looking for in a whiskey every single time. So
Well, I hope it's one of these. I've got all of them sitting over to the side. I hope it's one of them that you can get. I don't remember which one it is, but there's only 2 of these. I think I might know what they are.
yes, that's the one that Will said was dessert in a glass, I believe, right?
Oh yeah, Will. So what was your favorite and why?
Number 3, it's
Number
all my
3.
favorite dessert in a glass.
See, I have number 3 in second place, but that's okay. You have number 3 in fourth place?
Mhm.
Oh, you're crazy. All right. Well, why don't you give us? Why don't we give everybody
No.
yours?
I'm probably the weird one, but whatever.
And if anybody's watching this now or on the replay, and you're a member of the Whiskey Society, or even not, and you want to become a member, and you want to taste some of these might end up in the whiskey library at our new place. So, just saying. All right, give everybody your
Right.
rankings.
5, 4, 2, 3, 1.
5 was your
6.
first place.
Mhm.
5. Wow. Okay. All right.
Wait, I told you it's hard. Now
Nope.
you're making me question my life.
You like different whiskeys than I do. That's okay.
Well- It's the one I told you that.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, let's get everybody else's. Okay, Jason, give us your ranking, first place to last place.
First place would be 3, 2, 4, 1, 5, and 6.
Okay.
So I flip flop 4 and 1 there.
Okay. All right. So Will, give us yours.
I am 3, 4, 2, 1, 5, 6.
Okay, man, I think we're kind of all over the place. So I am 2, 3, 1, 4, 5, 6. I think, man, I think 6 is pretty much the only one that's consistent. So I'm going to tally up the scores. I'll get our group ranking. You guys go ahead and sip on your samples, talk, and I'll be back in just a second.
So I will note I added a bit of water back through after I had given my ranking, and a couple drops of water improved 6 by a margin huge.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? All right, I'm going to add a little bit. That was maybe more than a couple drops. Well, I definitely get something more on the nose.
Yeah, it took it from undrinkable to, well, this isn't so bad.
Yeah, I still get that almond butter, which is not bad. It's not a bad whiskey. It's a good whiskey.
Yes.
To me, it's just not near as good as the other one.
And I think that's the other thing that, yeah, just what you're noting right there is that this is comparing these whiskeys to these whiskeys here. We're not comparing these to everything else that's out there and saying, okay, where does this compare to anything else that we've ever had? Because
on a given day, right?
Like on a given day, at this point,
behind you, you've got how many different examples?
Exactly. Yeah.
Order they went in, right? Like
all of that comes into play here, but then drinking back through it with these at the same time, yeah, that's where you have your initial thoughts and rankings, and then you come back through and taste side by side, and that's where some of those things change up with it. So, yeah, my number 1 went from 2 to 4 when I went back and did side by side with it. So.
Four is good.
Wow. This is a first on all of the many virtual blind flights we've had. We've had ties before, but we've never had 2 ties. We have 2 ties. And I double checked it.
You're welcome.
I double checked it. We have a tie for first place, and we have a tie for third place. So, yeah, we don't have any way to do a tiebreaker, so we'll just go through them.
Find out what is happening.
Well, I don't know. Let me see. We got a comment here. That one that Will said was like your word. Glass sounds good. Yeah, you'll be able. That was glass number 3. You'll be able to see what that is here in a second. So we'll go through it. Kevin jumps on. That's fine. So in a clear last place again, in comparison to the other whiskeys we have tried. In a clear last place was glass number 6. Let me pull up my feed here. Yeah, that's the one I thought it was. This is very surprising to me. In a clear last place, glass 6, Angel's Envy cask strength. Now, this particular one is a Regency liquor pick. It's 110 proof. The reason why I picked this one, we visited Angel's Envy on our Whiskey Sided Distillery Tour trip. We did the bottle your own bourbon experience, and the one we bottled was phenomenal, and I didn't feel like opening it yet. So I grabbed another cask strength Angel's Envy that we had, and that was apparently a mistake because the one we bottled on our trip was miles better than this one. Again, this is not a bad whiskey, though.
Right.
This is not a bad whiskey. Angel's Envy is a very popular brand. Their cask strength is good. This particular batch is not exactly to my flavor. It's good, but it wasn't overwhelming. So Angel's Envy, I'm getting a lot of glare there.
pretty
Cask strength.
sure what
This is
you
a
said
Regency
was
liquor pick.
rotting wood.
Well,
Musty wood.
musty wood.
I said musty wood. He said rotting wood.
But so anybody in the chat watching, if you were on the trip, if Paul, if you're watching, I mean, you can attest to the one we bottled when we down there was phenomenal. Now, what's interesting is you get a this is not cask strength. Most of their picks are 110 proof. But when you do the bottle your own bottle experience there, it is true cask strength. I want to say ours was 116 or 118 or something like that. It is different. It is not the 110 proof that comes from their standard picks. So,
So did that get the full 24 points, or was there someone that didn't give it?
That got the full 24 points. Yeah. So, all right. So now that ended up being fourth place because we have a tie for third. So tied for third place with 16 points are Glass 1 and Glass 5. Glass 1 and 5 tied. Third place for 16 points. We'll start with Glass 5. This is a little surprising. I thought this one was going to do a little better. This was from the trip that Jess and I went on through New York and all of that. And that is Sagamore Spirits.
Not surprised.
This is their PX Sherry finish. The ever popular PX Sherry finish, Sagamore Spirits.
We went to Sagamore.
Yep.
My goal on that trip was to find this bottle because I liked it so much. So I'm not surprised
we
they put
found
it in
this.
first.
We found the double oak. We found their new cask strength. They have a new higher proof cask strength. So this is 106 proof. It is finished in PX Sherry barrels, and this is batch 1A. 1A. Not a bad showing. These are all really good whiskeys, tied for third place. If you've never been to Sagamore or have never had any of their stuff, phenomenal. I mean,
It's great stuff. Yeah.
I was wondering if Jason picked up a little familiarity with the Sagamore on this one.
Sagamore, the sherry, yeah. The sherry rye with, yeah.
No, I put it in first. That makes me happy.
You put it in first?
I love that bottle.
Okay, good.
I did.
That's right. You did put 5 in first.
I did.
Yep.
Yep.
And if nobody's ever been out to Baltimore and visited Sagamore, it's an amazing experience. The property's so great. They're great hosts. I highly recommend visiting Sagamore. Now, tied with Sagamore, very, very respectable showing, tied with Sagamore Sherry Finished Rye, was glass number 1. This was a trip we just did through Pennsylvania, and this is 8. Oh, we lost. Hang on, guys. We lost our feed. There we go. This is 8 Oaks Distillery. This is their Pennsylvania Straight Rye. We were out there. We weren't intending on doing any distillery visits. We took the camper out there. We went to Dorney Park. We went to Hershey Park. But we got some rain on the trip. We weren't doing anything. We figured we'd look up some local distilleries. This is a family-run farm, family-run distillery. It is veteran-owned. The owner is a retired Army pilot. He's a commercial airline pilot as well. This is a true Pennsylvania rye. It is
their own grain.
They use their own grains from their own farm. It's in Tripoli, Pennsylvania, New Tripoli, Pennsylvania. The name 8 Oaks, they told us when we were there, was a very interesting story. The grandfather used to sign all his letters to his family with an 8 because there's 8 letters in I love you. And so he would sign everything with an 8, and so they named their farm 8 Oaks Distillery. It is 88 proof. This is batch 32, and it's a straight rye, so it's not finished or anything. We were very impressed with a small craft distillery and what they were producing, and grabbed the bottle and now sharing it with you guys.
Is that the one that I said this has rye written all over it?
Is that number one?
No, did you see that for
was
number one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big red gum, greenwood, fennel salad, cracked peppercorns.
Yeah.
Rye.
Yeah, and it's a rye I love, right? So there's some
I like
ryes I cannot get behind, okay? And usually those West Coast ryes, but this Pennsylvania style rye, Maryland style ryes,
Yep.
I really, really like. So we were impressed with them. Big shout out to Eight Oaks Distillery. Look them up online. See if you can find a bottle. If you're traveling through Pennsylvania, if you're going to Hershey or Dorney, you definitely got to check them
The
out.
cool part is they're doing their own thing, and they had a bourbon and a rye. So
They had a bourbon and a rye. They had other stuff
and
going
their
on.
facilities are really cool.
Yeah,
it was.
the facilities were
really
great.
neat.
It was very impressive. So that was tied with third place with Sagamore Spirits. That was glass number 1. Now we have a standalone for second place. That was glass number 4 with 11 points. Glass number 4 with 11 points. This kind of surprises me too. This is the Rabbit Hole Folsom Run rye whiskey finished in sherry barrels. So, oh no, I'm sorry. This wasn't the sherry barrel. This was the cognac finish. So this is 108.4 proof. This is finished in cognac casks, and it is the Rabbit Hole's rye whiskey.
It was like a distillery only release.
Yeah, it's a
when we were
distillery
there.
only release. They only come in 375s. Batch 651 for their distillery only release. And it performed, I mean, glass 4. I was neck and neck, glass 4 and 1 of which one I liked better. So for this craft distillery Pennsylvania rye to go head to head with a Rabbit Hole cognac finish is pretty impressive. Did you put that one over?
That was my second place.
Okay. All right. What did you guys? You guys were kind of bouncing back and forth with 4 also, weren't you?
I put it in second.
You put it in second. Well, sorry. This one, you guys will probably be able to find. You might have to drive to Pennsylvania. You might be able to find it online somewhere. This one is only at the distillery. Distillery only release, and when it's gone, it's gone. So sorry about that one.
I've got family that's a 30-minute drive from Hershey, so I'll probably be visiting the Eight Oaks.
Oh, yeah. The experience is great. Oh, and if you go on Sunday, they do Sunday
have a
brunch. They have a brunch buffet on Sunday there. Yes.
We were just talking about going to Hershey, so
It was surprising. It was actually a little further than Hershey. We were actually over by Dorney when we went there. But
Yeah.
it's, I mean, the two of them are about an hour apart.
Yeah,
So
Mhm.
it was definitely worth your time. I mean, if you look up distilleries, we went to 3. I would say that one was probably the best.
So moving on, tied for first place. This makes me super excited. I like both of these distilleries a lot. I love their products. They were really fun to visit. One of them was a very unique experience. So tied for first place with 9 points were glass 2 and 3. So I'll start with glass 3. Glass 3, Boone County, and this is their distillery only release. This is their toasted cask strength finish. So this is their cask strength finished in toasted barrels. It is 116.8 proof. It is their straight bourbon whiskey finished in toasted barrels. So really excited about this one. This is sourced. So if you get anything from Boone County that says pot still, that is their own distillate. When I was talking to those guys, their regular stuff is still sourced right now. They do have some other stuff that's aging that they'll be coming online with. But their pot still stuff, anything with the pot still on the label is their own distillate. Any of the regular bourbon labels or rye label is still sourced right now. But they do a great job with the finishing and their blending. And I'm a big fan of Boone County, especially their 7-year single barrel stuff. But this cask strength toasted is phenomenal. And their place is really cool too.
Caramel bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can definitely get a hold of this, Jason. If it's like what, a 3.5, 4-hour drive down there. But you can definitely get a hold of it. They had a whole big shelf full of it, and we were there just a couple weeks ago. But it's really good stuff. Let's see. So, that was the one Will said was dessert in a glass. Yeah. So Will said it was dessert in a glass. You gotta go down to the distillery to get it. It's really fantastic. Yeah, it was awesome. Our bottle of Angel's Envy. Oh, so Paul, I think this is Paul. He said it's 115 proof. That one we bottled. So their standard private bottles are 110. Ours is 115. Yeah, and again, that toasted Boone County is just phenomenal. What really excites me is what tied it for first place, glass number 2. And I'm really excited about this because I personally selected this one, right? Is this the one I selected? Yes, it was. I personally selected this from a distillery that is phenomenal. I encourage everyone to visit. It was super fun. The guys there are awesome. The owner himself came down and walked us around and helped us pull whiskey straight out of the barrel. And that was Whiskey Thief Distillery on the Three Boys Farm. This particular bottle is 108.6 proof.
Signed by the owner.
Signed by the owner. Signed by the master distiller. This one, one of you guys said there might be a 4-grain in here. This is a 4-grain. So this does have corn, wheat, rye, and malted barley. And what's interesting is the rye component of this 4-grain is smoked. So they smoked the rye before they distilled this.
So is that my brown marshmallows and?
Yep, this was glass 2. This was glass 2. Okay. This was barrel B1. So when you go there, they've got 2 sets of barrels set out that they're doing tastings from. This was the other set from that day, but the owner took us over and let us try them. This is a 5-year. It's their own distillate. It's a 4-grain with one of those grains being smoked, and that was the rye. But it also does have wheat in it as well. I fell in love with this one and had to have this one, and I put it in first place again. So I really enjoy that 4-grain. And if anybody's traveling down to the Bourbon Trail, do not pass up Whiskey Thief Distillery. That is a super fun experience.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah. So what'd you guys think? Any surprises in there for you?
That second one didn't do as well as I thought it would.
Yeah.
Did for me.
Where did I put that one?
It would be interesting though, Will, to do like
I put that
their
in
8-year,
place.
the double oaked, the cognac. I mean, they have the rum finish, they have the sherry finish.
We could do a whole Sagamore series.
Yeah,
we should.
Well, and I find that personally, that sherry finish with a rye is, I really enjoy it. So I'm kind of excited it went,
okay,
up there.
So we got
a
couple people watching. I don't know if this is Paul or who this is. Said Facebook user said the smoked rye. We got lucky to grab that one. We did. That was awesome, and that was thanks to Mike. Mike, who was on the trip with us, knew a friend that was a friend of the owner, our brother-in-law, fishes with the owner, or something like that. Super happy on the hookup. That's why the owner came out and popped a couple of extra barrels for us.
And he's like, "You like that one?
Yeah,
come over here. You got to try these barrels."
And then someone else says, "Still have to open that 4-grain." Yeah, that 4-grain with the smoked rye was just it was so good. So, really excited about what those guys are doing. But yeah, the Sagamore, and again, the Sagamore and the Andrews Envy are
Yeah.
good whiskeys.
They are.
It's just we're putting them up against other really good whiskeys. So you
Mhm.
got to nitpick and pick the winners. But for Eight Oaks to stand up in there with the lineup the way they did was super impressive. Even for Whiskey Thief to stand up there and do what they did, they are still a fairly newer distillery.
Yep.
They're doing great stuff. And Boone County too.
Yep.
Just real happy all around with a lot of the distillers we went to. And I just want to encourage people, if you're watching this now, if you're watching on the replays, when you're traveling, still go to the heritage distilleries. Those are super fun experiences, but try and find those smaller, kind of off the beaten path, unique craft distilleries, because there's some of them that are doing some good stuff.
I was hoping you had the Boone County in there tonight.
Were you?
Yeah. I'm glad I had that as my number one, and I'm not surprised that I had Whiskey Thief as my number two. So
Yeah.
I was surprised that Sagamore was my number 5, though. That was really interesting, being as how much I really enjoy Sagamore.
So I know you were looking at the hall. You were watching like where we were visiting, and so those two were ones you were hoping were going to be in here. Was there anything else you were hoping was going to be in here?
I got to try the from Heaven Hill, the what is it, the select stock. I got to try that when I was down there. I was down there a week before you guys and everything like that, so I got to try that one. So I was like, oh, that would be interesting to be in there too. But at the same time, once I got into it, it's like, nope, none of these are the select stocks.
Do you know what select stock you tried, though? Because the one that was on the bottle of your own had just finished before we got there.
Yeah.
So that was
the
went and waited
one,
in line.
The one we picked up is not the one that was on the bottle of your own bourbon. So the one that was on the bottle of your own bourbon was a 14-year-old Bernheim.
Right, and that was the one that we got to taste during the connoisseur tasting.
Yep. So the select stock that we got when we were down there at opening is a 15-year-old double-barreled in a Chicopee barrel or something like that.
A Chickapane, yeah.
Chickapane barrel. There it is. Chickapane. And look in the chat. So they aged their standard, I'm assuming Elijah Craig, for 13 years, and then finished it for 2 more years in the Chickapine barrel. So it's we haven't cracked that one open yet. That'll definitely be opening on a special occasion coming up, or a Whiskey Society bottle share or something along those lines.
And I think that's the thing. Like, what are those exciting little things where you get really great experiences? Like you were talking, going to the Big 8 distilleries or whatever. One of those great things is doing the connoisseur tasting at Heaven Hill there, because you get an option to buy a bottle of one of the items that's in your tasting experience that day, and it's something that nobody else gets to do unless you do that connoisseur tasting. And it's only $25 to do the connoisseur tasting, and you get 5 super great whiskeys on that. So try that whenever you're there.
Well, the Evan Williams experience that we did, the 12-year was in there.
We lucked out at Evan Williams.
Yeah, that was great.
We were able to get the Distiller Select, the 12-year, and sitting on the shelf in the gift shop, just sitting on the shelf, was the ECBP, the new ECBP release, the new larceny barrel proof release, and then a toasted barrel. So you could walk out of there with 5 allocated bottles in one trip. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was a good.
Yeah, the when we did it, we got the 5 that we tasted through was the Parker's Heritage.
Oh wow.
Heaven Hill, the Heaven Hill 10-year with the I'm missing it right now, but I got the Barrel Proof, the newest release of Barrel Proof, and Henry McKenna 10-year was also one of. So there's 4 great right off the, and then the Select Stock was the number 5 out of that. And so
That's awesome.
That's if you're for $25.
Spoiled for choice.
Yeah, and out of that day, you get one of those bottles is up for purchase for you going through that nobody else can get that day.
Yep.
So
Will is just, telling us, don't have it in the summer anymore. Don't have the trip in the summer.
Fall.
Yeah. Oh yes, the fall.
Yeah,
Yes, definitely the fall is gonna be there. So
Well, and it's funny because it's the luck of the draw on some
Yep.
of them, right? Like, we happen to be downtown Louisville hanging out, walking down, and we're in Buzzard's Roost, and like all the ladies are sitting at the bar trying to decide which flight they're gonna do, and the guys take off, and we're like, where did they all go? They went down to Michter's.
we got word
because-
Michter's just
Yeah,
dropped.
they dropped a sour mash.
They dropped toasted sour mash.
Yeah.
So
So
we
we're-
went boom.
So you just happen to be there, and sometimes you get lucky.
Mhm.
And sometimes you don't.
Yep.
And sometimes you get lucky and you go to Willett and there's Ryan Cecil and Dixon Deadman and Matt Pittman.
Yep.
Right there. So that was that was cool.
All right.
All right. Well, it's too bad Kevin couldn't join us. That's all right. This was super fun. He's still got his flight to taste through, and I'm interested to see what he thinks. But I hope you guys enjoyed all these. These were a selection of 6 that really stood out for me from our trips. Although with all the distilleries we visited, there was a lot of good whiskey. So if you watching want to try a lot of good whiskey from all our trips, make sure you check us out on Patreon. Join us as part of the Whiskey Society. Get member lounge access and come here with us. But until next time, cheers.
Cheers.